Because my mom is really skating alley and it has a really skating court and anybody can jump on.
The Digimapping project is a collaborative project with the creative placemakers at Whale Arts in Wester Hailes in Edinburgh. The project looked at how can we use digital media tools with children to explore how they feel about where they live.
I've seen this exact place in my dreams without sleeping.
So the project ran in 3 primary schools in Wester Hailes, and each of these projects ran over 6 weeks and was a 2-hour session. So over those 6 weeks, the children worked together to create a large tactile talking map of places that are meaningful in their local area. The first week of the Digimapping project is us going into the primary school, introducing ourselves and kind of what the project's going to look like. On a big piece of paper, we asked them to draw from memory what their walk to school looks like and any things of interest or stories that they have along the way. So week 2, we put all of the children into groups and we give each of them an audio recorder and a tablet. And they go out on a walk of the local area to these meaningful places. And while they're on this walk, they can work in their groups and they can record whatever they like. So stories, memories, sounds, they can interview each other. And they're just trying to create this content that's all about their local area.
Someone told me that the big bell was going to fall on my head.
I think it's a key point in this type of research that you encourage and reward play and don't try and constrain what the children are doing. You just allow them to do what they're doing, and that leads you and guides you into what you're trying to find out.
Another thing that was really interesting was the fantasy that came with some of the audio recordings. So there was one area that was a Quarry Park, and there was a wooded area, and they talked about how they were entering a new world.
The fantasy element of the walks was fantastic. There was one point where they were on a bridge over the canal and there was this shopping trolley, and one of them decided it was a treasure chest. And so in the end, the whole class decided that they had found a treasure chest sunk into the canal, which then became part of the map, which was really great.
While we were on the walk, we came across a store called Michael's. Now, none of the children had talked about this shop before, but suddenly when we got there, they were like, we're at Michael's, and they were running over, they were really excited, they were recording lots of stories about their memories of going into Michael's, but also they were really desperate to interview the staff in the shop as well. So psychogeography became really apparent to us as the researchers, but I think for the children, they were just having a great time and getting to go around this area and sharing all this knowledge that they had.
And they did really bring us into their world. I mean, quite often we would be taken somewhere and then suddenly we would go into these spaces that weren't actually officially spaces, and this was like a sort of green behind the boxing club. And then we discovered that it was occupied by, who was it? It was Bloody Mary and Killer Clown, and they lived there and they scared the children. The children would then took it in turns to tell us scary stories from behind the boxing club. They went out and recorded hundreds and hundreds of minutes of sound clips. So Tanis here had to work furiously over that week to make sense of them and create clips that were meaningful for the children.
So week 3 is the week that they learn how to use the bare conductive touch boards and how to build a circuit When they press a drawing using tinfoil and copper tape, it triggers one of the stories that they've chosen and creates an interactive tactile drawing.
And what's exciting for them is that suddenly they draw a picture, they attach it to their own voice, and then they touch it, and then suddenly it's meaningful for them. Immediately, I mean, it was great, wasn't it? Because they then started messing around and exploring, you know, every class, how long can I make a wire? Can I attach it to this metal object, to that metal object, can it still work?
One of the children was trying to wire it up to another person, so like they would slap the person's hand to try and trigger stories and things like that as well. So week 4 is a drawing week. They've been out, they've done all the recordings, they've taken photographs using the tablets. This week we asked them to draw the places that they visited in week 2.
Love it. Thank you.
So week 5 is the big week. That's when everything comes together. Each group is given out 2 or 3 drawings that are going to be for the final map. And what they need to do is pick sounds that will be on the final map and make an interactive picture.
And there's one at number 8, right? Yeah. And then the last one is number 6. Get that one to the canal, okay? And that's you. You guys finished?
Once the children decided what's going where, we then spend the week really working to make this map very beautiful. Try and create as much of a smooth effect as we can.
Oh my goodness!
So week 6 is the final week of the Digimapping project. The children get to see the final finished Digimap. When the Digimaps were laid out, instantly they were trying to figure out who recorded what sound, who did what picture.
Anything you want to say to us, just write it on the back, write it any way you like. Write anything, draw anything, we don't mind, but please...
The children filled in evaluations at the end asking how they felt about the project. The responses included things like, made me want to learn science because I felt smart. I get to be imagining, which was really nice.
Hard but easy was my favourite comment.
That was good. Phenomenal. was good. I liked that. Things like, you know, they got to learn new things about the local area. They liked sharing their stories. They like to hear other people's stories.
Ethan used to...
They took it seriously, didn't they? That was the interesting thing was, you know, although they were having fun and enjoying it, they wanted to create a quality response to what was going on, and they worked really hard within their groups to make sure that what they gave us was meaningful.